Alright, what's up everybody? I'm Dat Boy Few, and welcome to the Uncle Cyborg Show, where today we're talking about the worst game genres of all time. But first, let me introduce you to, he's down here today. He was passing the doctor's office, heard him talking about boosters, he grabbed his controller. It's the High Roll King.
How's it going, everybody?
How you doing, Bo?
Pretty good.
And over here, he's the father of the guy who got me sick. It's Super Nolan, man. How you doing, Nolan?
No. Brother, I don't want that. I want your soul.
Wow. Well, you're getting a cold.
Baseless conjecture.
If you're new here, this is the Uncle Cyborg Show, where we break down the trending topics and our favorite things about video games while keeping it rated E for everyone. If that sounds appealing to you, click that subscribe button and also hit that bell so you can be notified when we upload. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can answer our question of the week. Like last week, we asked, what could they, I'm paraphrasing here, what was the announcement they can make it at Pokemon Presents that would get you bombarding the Poke Shop or something like that? And
yeah, that was close.
Friend of the show, Gabriel, coming through yet again. He's letting us know he has to go with a Pokemon roguelike. And he'd be highly intrigued, and that's for someone who's not generally a Pokemon fan. I actually think that's a pretty good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, they've never done one of those. That would be interesting.
You start out, you
I'm
catch
curious.
a Pokemon, you gotta go all the way like through all the gym leaders or something like that. Or maybe to a gym leader.
I wonder if, like, do you take, like, I know that that's kind of like an adventure kind of game and, you know, quest pop and stuff like that, but like, do you start like Mystery Dungeon and go from there? Or do you do it something like, you know, take the framework of a Coliseum or something? I have no idea what a Pokemon roguelike would look like.
It's a regular old roguelike, but you're killing Pokemon instead.
Yeah, just see how much you can level up a Pokemon in one run, or you know, a group of Pokemon, and just go like from trainer to trainer, maybe.
Yeah,
That'd be cool. Do like
they
a little
probably
blitz.
fall a lot from like Nuzlocke and stuff.
Yeah.
You do a Pokemon 99, where you start out with, you know, not literally 99, but maybe you start out with like 128 battlers. So you just do tournaments, but like you get items during your tournaments based on performance and stuff like that. I don't know. There's a few different ways that could go there. So
yeah, that'd be interesting. This week, we're asking you, which video game genre should go die in a hole? If you pick up a game and you see...
Which one do you hate?
Yep.
Hate.
All right. Before we go any further, Bo, I've seen a little notification on my PlayStation homepage. What you been playing this week, bud?
Well, I finished off Resident Evil 4 Remake. Got all the trophies for that.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. DLC was a little bit annoying at parts, but I finished it up. And then I started Liza P, which has been a lot of fun. Man, I want to rate it like among other FromSoft Souls games. Like, it's really good.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
Oh, it's so good to hear.
Really like it.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend it if you like the FromSoft games. That's really
I want to
cool.
hear your Bloodborne, or sorry, your Liza P thoughts in a second. Real quick, since you've been kind of like keeping an ongoing ranking with us, where does Resident Evil 4 Remake end up? Is it above the original?
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. None of this stop to shoot kind of stuff.
I think it's top. I think it's top 4.
I'm
not like quite sure where it is yet, but it was really good.
Above or below
and
RE2 Remake?
Graphically, it's like amazing looking. I actually liked RE2 Remake more. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit more.
That's fair.
Yeah, they kind of kickstarted
I
a whole
think
like...
that's entirely because they left Ashley, like escorting Ashley around is still in the game, and that gets really old sometimes.
It would be
I get
tough
like
to
they
not
had
have
to
it in
keep
there.
it in there. Yeah, it's a huge part of the game, but escort missions suck, man.
My understanding is that they made her more competent.
Slightly, yeah.
She'll
still get the armor, and that helps a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lysa P, how far in do you think you are?
Beating 2 bosses.
Okay.
I'm
Are they
like
the
right
two
at
that
the 3rd boss now.
are they the 2 that we have done before?
Yeah, so you saw the first one. We didn't get to the
Okay.
second one.
Okay. So you're not counting mini bosses. You're like main bosses.
Yeah,
Cool.
because the actual bosses are big.
Yeah.
What we saw before was like a humanoid boss.
Yeah.
That one, I mean, it's tough, but it's not boss.
So I still haven't come back after playing the demo way back. Which I mean, if anyone has Xbox Game Pass, you have 2 weeks from yesterday to start and beat Lies of P. But I've been going back and forth on picking up I've been thinking about trying to get a physical copy of it for PlayStation, just doing it that way. A physical copy of Lies of P. But so, Phil, correct me if I'm wrong. This is it. It's well, one, it's clearly Bloodborne inspired rather than just regular Souls inspired. But but my feeling for it, even though it has some like the interconnectivity and winding around of like Bloodborne does, this one to me feels a little more, for lack of a better way to put it, linear. At least like you have it almost like in the Dark Souls 2 kind of way, where you have like your different paths you can go, but you kind of follow that path through to the end. So it makes it feel like some of these bosses are lesser on your way to like the real boss of that area. Is that accurate for what you've played so far?
Yeah, I would compare it. Like it's kind of like in between Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1 a little bit. So there's a little bit more interconnectivity than 2, but it's not quite as interconnected as 1 is.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny, like so like the first part of the game is very much Bloodborne. But then it kind of like develops its own style, like where I'm at now. So yeah, it's cool. I really like it.
Alrighty, Big Noel.
I can't wait to hear more about that.
What you've been playing?
Yeah.
All right. This week has been kind of an interesting one. It's been busy, but it's been a good week. I'm gonna kind of rapid fire some of these here. One, I want to play more Avowed, but I'm trying to get through another game so that I can just make that like my single player game. Like when I get, an hour every here and there to, to chill out, I want to make Avowed that game, but I need to finish Animal Well first. Animal Well was one of my top games of last year, and I hadn't finished it. And now that I'm coming up to finishing that game is so crazy. Hey, bud. Sorry, give me a second here. Hey, bud. Come here.
All right, Theo, what you been playing?
Bud.
Sorry, I need to grab my co-pilot here.
As a spreader of the
he's
plague.
just saying that for a minute. Yeah, patient 0 of measles. Just kidding. We're not speaking that over you, but no, we're not. We got
I'd be very surprised if it was measles.
Right? Yeah. The only one of us under threat of measles right now is Bo, because you're in Texas, where it's actually launching off from.
But yeah, that's true.
Anyways, so you're good. You have to go outside to catch anything.
Got him.
No, I got him. No, I'm messing around. Because you've been out more than I have lately. So
yeah, that's true.
So that is bleh. I'm just making up some games now. Animal Well. This is there's few times where I don't know how to describe something. Well, especially like a game where I don't even know where to begin, because is it a Metroidvania? Is it just an adventure game? There's no combat in it. There's no like story. There's no direction. You're just kind of it is the most Zelda 1 of a game that I've ever played outside of Zelda 1. And you're given no direction, but you just, as you go around, you just find these little, basically household objects, little toys, more or less. And when you find them, they don't tell you what they do. You just find these things laying around, you pick it up, and you just kind of click it in a bunch of areas until something happens. And it's not like a point-and-click adventure where it's like, all right, you get to now get through this area because you have this item with you. It's like you have to use the item correctly and stuff like that. I don't really want to spoil any of the major ones, but I'll just point out one of the easy ones as like this is an obvious one because they show you how to do it before you even pick it up. But there's like a little bubble wand, and you pop a little bubble up, and then you jump on it, and then that gives you kind of like a double jump. It's not a real double jump. But this game is interesting that you don't pick up additional health as you go along. You don't get stronger. And again, there's no combat, but there are definitely enemies. So you will, as you go
it's a
along...
2D platformer stealth game.
It feels like it a lot of times, man. But what is really cool about this is I'm somebody who loves secrets in a game. And this is basically Secrets, the video game. Like every single screen in that game, I'm finding stuff where I'm like, man, I've literally gone through this 100 times. I never knew this was here. And every single screen has something like that in it. I don't think I can name a screen where I didn't find some kind of secret in there somewhere. Whether it's like a path that loops me back around somewhere else, or it gets me a little Easter egg. And they've literal Easter eggs like around the map, and you get rewards for collecting a bunch of them. But I mean, I don't know. The game is so cool, and it has the vibes of something that you weren't supposed to come across. I've talked to McKenna about this, and I got this originally from somewhere else, but it's kind of like, imagine you're in the 80s, early 90s. And you went to grandma's house for a summer, and you went up into her attic. You saw a little TV in the corner, bunch of dust on it, and you turned it on.
I've heard
and this game was loaded up.
This way, yeah.
And then you're playing it, and you're like, "This game is just so weird." Game. And then you go back down there, and you tell her about finding a TV, and she's like, "I've never owned a TV." Something like that, where like you stumbled across something you weren't supposed to. Like whatever this is seems kind of like haunted, doesn't exist, but it's not at all horror or anything like that. It's just so
bizarre.
It's so bizarre. I can't think of it. It gives me the same feeling as like when I watch the original Jumanji or certain movies like Indian in the Cupboard, Flight of the Navigator, where like just something weird happens and you're on this adventure that nobody would ever believe. That's the kind of vibes it gives me. So
nice.
That's the only other thing is still playing more of Pokemon collectible card game Pocket, and the battling is getting better because as they've gone through more expansions, it's less RNG now because that first expansion was all all the meta decks were based around what coin flips you can get and stuff like that. And I had one of those. I was rocking a Misty with Starmie and Articuno deck in there for a while. Really up until just a few weeks ago. And I've switched over to something that is I'm taking advantage of Magneton. No. Magnezone. So one of the Magnetons that came out, each time that you go through a turn, you get like a free electric energy connected to him. So I can do like a dark deck and then just have him there getting his electric energy on his own, and then it finally evolve him into Magnezone and then just deal crazy damage while I've got all my dark Pokemon there. Nice. I'm not having to sacrifice the dark energy for that. So that's been pretty sweet. The expansions themselves, I wish they had a better system for getting the cards you don't have, because I want to have them all. And this is the first time where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of them, but we'll see. But anyways, it's been the battling has been getting better. At the beginning, I thought the battling was absolutely trash. It was just who got lucky with coin flips. But now things are expanding a lot more. You can actually really build a good deck. So
nice.
Alrighty, that's all I had there.
This week for me, I've been playing a little bit of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Guy, but I don't like playing against regular people because they win really fast. So I like playing those because it goes to like all the like story duels and stuff. And I also got back into Gundam Breaker 4. I had seen a couple days ago the new, I think it's called it's like Gundam G Quacks or something like that. in theaters. Me and my buddy went to see that, so it got me wanting to play into the game again. And I'm enjoying it a lot more this time than I did the first time I played it.
Hey, could you say this? Which one is this again? The title?
Gundam Breaker 4.
Gundam Breaker 4. Okay, so you had been 3 is the one that you played last year. You were super into, and 4 was the one you weren't feeling at first.
And then 4 I played right after I beat 3, and so, I was kind of Gundam out of it. How it works for me. I'm a Gundam fan, but I'll play stuff and I'll get kind of tired of it, and I'll let it sit forever until I watch something new, and then I'll pick them back up and start playing again.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because some of those games are slow to get through.
Like, you gotta take a break.
What's the gameplay loop of that? Is it level based or is it?
So you load into a mission. There's typically 3 sections in a mission. It's kind of a beat 'em up. You'll go through, you kill all the enemies, and you'll go to the next one. You kill the enemies, and you go to a boss. And then as you're going through and killing units, they'll break off pieces, and then you'll get to use those pieces. Like, I believe it's you can have a head, each arm, each arm, legs, a chest, and then like a backpack and weapons. So all the units have those different things. So you can pretty much take all the different Gundams and other like grunt units and stuff, and you can make your own custom stuff, and then you level those up to fight and whatnot. It's pretty good. I like it, but I definitely don't think it'd be for everyone.
Okay.
All
right. Moving on to the main event. We've got our
Speaking of games that aren't for everyone.
Our little debate / town hall here, where we're gonna go ahead and share our least favorite genres, and this is all pretty subjective because everybody likes different things, obviously. But these are ones that really either grind our gears or we just dislike, or for whatever reason. Not every bad genre doesn't mean because it's a bad genre doesn't mean it can't have good games, and vice versa. It could be a good genre that has bad games as well. Or not for this, but you know.
Yeah. There are no bad genres, only bad games. Except for the genres we're talking about today. These are actually objectively bad.
Yeah.
Fight us in the comments.
And if you
enjoy these genres, you need to find a new hobby.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to tell you today.
Yeah, but it's subjective.
No. It's subjective, but
all right, so how this will work, each of us will take a little bit. We'll give our genre, we'll give it a little definition if it needs it, and we'll give some example games, and we'll talk about why it's bad. After that, the other boys, they'll have a chance to give either arguments or they'll be able to agree and also ask questions. After which, the presenter is going to wrap up, give their final thoughts. So for me, I'm starting, and I apologize because I was infected by the patient 0.
You'll never let it go.
Yeah, so I'm still recovering from that. But I'm
literally wiped his boogers on your face. Like just took snot off and just wiped it all over him on Monday.
He was like this. I came in, I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like,
so easy, man. It's crazy.
Yep. All right. So for my genre, and I actually am uncertain if this is a bad genre or not. I'm going to figure it out by the end of this, and I'll see what you guys think. Because my original thing I was going to go with was I was under the opinion, or under the that JRPGs were a bad genre because there's so many bad games in them. But then I was thinking you can't have that many good games and be a bad genre.
Yeah.
So even though there is like a ton of bad games that are JRPGs, there's so many like all-time classics that it can't really be a bad genre.
Here's the thing: are they actually bad, or are they just mid?
Boring.
Do they just have a lot of mid games?
You just don't want to. You just don't want to play it. You know.
I get you. That's fair.
It's not like so bad that you buy it and then you're like, oh, this stinks. You throw the game. It's just like you play for a little bit and then you play other stuff and never go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's the most egregious thing is when a game is just too average to not even want to go back to it. Yeah, you just get bored.
Alrighty. So my genre that I think is one of the worst gaming genres is the MMORPG. Or MMO for short. Right. So MMORPG, it stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game. Us in the know call it an MMO. Basically, you create a character, and then you journey through the game world while you make friends, complete quests, collect gear, and do raiding dungeons and fighting big bosses together. So I have a pretty good history with MMOs. From like in 2019, I got really sick, so I couldn't work, and so I was trying to find an MMO to play because I'd seen an anime where they played an MMO. So I have experience with Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, RuneScape Old School and New School, and a little bit of Black Desert Online, Star Trek, Wizard 101, and EVE Online. Here's why I think they're bad. So first off, they are a massive time sink. So I have around 400 hours in Lord of the Rings Online, and I'm halfway through the expansions. There's almost too much to do sometimes, and I will get back into what makes it a time sink later, but even base game, you're talking 100 to 200 hours depending on the game. Something like Lord of the Rings Online is obviously going to be longer because it's adapting a whole book series, and there's things like RuneScape where there's not technically a story. You just kind of quest out and about, but if you want to do everything, it'll still take a really long time. And that brings me into the second point, which is it's a money sink. So with MMOs, you have to pay a monthly fee. Sometimes you have to pay for the game on top of it, and they'll usually give you a free month, but you're still buying the game anyway. You have to pay for expansions, and then monetization in game. As soon as you load it, it will be a screen telling you what to buy. Whether you can buy things for your house, new gear for your character, costumes, a pet. It is as soon as you go in, it is obvious that this is it's a money trap. I broke down the thing for MMOs. A lot of them are starting to go free to play, and that's because the genre as a whole, I don't think it's as popular as it once was. Even though games like Final Fantasy did big numbers, especially during COVID. So they were starting losing players, so they go to a free-to-play format where basically they'll let you play the game, but they'll take out a good chunk of stuff unless you buy a subscription, which is what the games are based on. You can pay a month at a time, 3 months, 6 months, and sometimes at a year. So I did cost here. So if you want to buy something like, I don't know, Elden Ring, right? Do you think you could probably get, if you did everything in the game, you could probably get a year out of Elden Ring?
Yeah, if you spread it out, you could do that.
So that game costs, what, $60, $70?
Yeah, right? Well, yeah, at this point, it's...
If you want to play for a year on Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft, it'll be $155 a year. And that is if you buy the 1 year at a time, where it is like $2 or $3 cheaper than buying it monthly at a time. RuneScape is a little cheaper. It's $80 a month or $80 a year. Lord of the Rings Online, $100 a year. Yes.
So you said World of Warcraft was the first one?
World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14 are both $155 a month.
Okay, and does that include expansions? The actual things you play. So I have to pay $150 plus whatever expansions I want to play.
Yep.
How much are those expansions?
Those expansions
$30 to $40.
Yep, $30 to $40. Sometimes if it's a little expansion, sometimes it'll be $15 to $20. But those are the little ones. And the big thing that ties both those together is the gameplay, right? The main point of the game, you're doing quests or you're doing dungeons, right? The dungeons in games, the raids, they're usually pretty fun in all of them that I've played. The big thing that connects them all is the quests, right? And there's kind of a running gag in the MMO community where the quest is, you go talk to this guy, he asks you for an item. You go and get the item, and you come back, and he's like, great, thanks. Now go take it to this guy. Take it to this guy, and then, quest's over, he gives you a quest to go get an item, bring it back to him, and it's just that over and over and over. And that gets really tiring. And so you want to put the game down, and let's say you don't play it for a couple weeks, boop, subscription hits again, because you did the monthly, because you're not going to pay him $155 up front. And now you're like, I guess I got another month, so I'll play it. And you just get stuck in this infinite loop of taking a really long time to get to, because they're padding it out with these little mini quests to get anywhere. It's terrible. However, they're not all bad. To me, Final Fantasy 14 is really fun. The whole
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, I probably played maybe 20 hours of World of Warcraft. Really fun world to explore. It's really nice. The actual, if they can get it right, the experience of playing it is good, but I feel like they're just paying me. It's too much. $155.
I've definitely heard this argument before,
I think,
and I honestly agree that a lot of MMOs are not. They're not
Yeah.
designed well. They're designed to keep you doing the repetitive tasks over and over and over again.
and I might
You know.
be willing to give, Final 155 is a lot, but I might be willing to give that for Final Fantasy 15 or World of Warcraft, something with thousands of hours of stuff to do and millions of people
Yeah.
playing, so you can play with people all across the world. But for something, most MMOs are not very good. They are that same thing I described, where it's the same fetch quest, boop, fetch quest, boop, boop. You get a rage like, oh, that was really cool, back to fetch quest. The wine and cheese quest from Final Fantasy 14, perfect. Perfect
I hate that quest.
summary of this. Boys, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me, or am I stupid? Am I dumb?
I honestly agree, and I think there's a lot, and I've heard a lot of people say this before. A lot of MMOs were designed around that gimmick of the massive multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
A lot of these people play them, and they're building these friendships, and that's what they're hooking onto, not necessarily what the game is itself.
Yeah.
I would say that Final Fantasy 14 is probably the best one that I've done.
Yeah. Far and away, I think.
I mean, yeah, there's plenty of spots in Final Fantasy 14 even where like some people like go back and forth on this. I think all of Realm Reborn is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
They love those like 20-minute cutscenes. You just sitting there and then go.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cutscenes.
Yeah.
That's not typical of most MMOs.
Forgot this. Yeah, most MMOs, you're reading everything. They will give you, Lord of the Rings Online is like the worst about this. They will give you 3 paragraphs to read and no voice acting. You're just sitting there staring at your screen.
Yeah. There's definitely times 14 does that. Yeah.
Yep. All right, what do you think, Big No?
I'm inclined to agree with you on this. You asked if we agree or if we think you're stupid. I think both can be true, but I think it's more true that this is actually not a great genre, and for the same reasons that you listed here.
Definitely low.
I mean, I will say that I wasn't able to play it this time because, the internet was just a different place back in, back in the dial-up days. but all my friends played RuneScape, and if I had to wait after school, they'd be sitting in the library, and they'd go over to the 3 computers that are there, and they'd all log into RuneScape together, and I would just kind of watch them.
All get scammed together.
And it was, what's that?
It all gets scammed together.
Right? That's what it seemed like.
People were making 6 figures scamming kids on RuneScape, man. It was great.
Right. And then watching people, get into especially World of Warcraft from there, that really took off and really defined the genre going forward. Going into Final Fantasy 14 myself, and playing, I don't know, we played a lot of that game over the years.
We did. Yeah. Well, yeah, we played it for like 2 or 3 years.
So there are a few things that kind of hit like that, but I make the argument, and I'm about to get very reductive here, and that's pardon that, but
you're fine.
What an MMO is, this idea of coming in and existing in this world with your friends, where you're kind of sitting together, just shooting the trash, whatever. It's just while
it's kind of a vibe to
while
it.
You're waiting for the stuff. Yeah, you're just kind of you're dropping in this place, and you're able to all hang out together, even if you're not in person. Like, you're still in there hanging out. You can see each other. Is the idea, or at least your avatars and whatnot. You can you just run around and just cause mayhem together. Like, even if you don't have you don't have to
annoying mounts over and
exactly. Yeah. You can just meme on people and stuff like that. The problem with that is this is kind of like the subscription you're you're paying for. You're paying the subscription to go hang out with your friends. The problem is now you have, especially Fortnite, coming forward, and you do have now your hub where you're hanging out with your friends and stuff like that. And you're like, hey, what mode do we want to jump into? What game do we jump into? And you don't have to pay a fee for any of it. Most of it is just free completely, and then you just pay your battle pass if you want the extra stuff and all the goodies, which you're already having to pay for in an MMO on top of your subscription and paying for each expansion.
That is the most dated thing, is how much it costs.
And for console gamers, it's worse because you got to pay your Xbox Live or your PlayStation and the subscription.
Right?
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, if you want to be a console gamer just playing one MMO, you're still paying hundreds of dollars a year. You're paying at least $200 a year to play one game, if that's the way you want to do it. So I think and again, being very reductive, because all these different MMOs, there's a lot of cool combats, and like the collaboration that's happening is on another level that you don't see in other games.
Yeah.
I mean, jumping into 14 and all right, I've got this new class that I'm trying to do. I've got my different rotation where I had to sit there and learn. I was like, Bo, show me what buttons I'm supposed to click in what order, because as this character, I have about 90 seconds of stuff I need to memorize about what I'm supposed to do, and do that over and over.
The one you chose
know when to
was
back
the
up
one
on
with all
things.
the Japanese names.
Yeah. So it was, but and then I go pick up a new class. It's like, okay, here's a new rotation where this is going to be like what you're doing. And it's all it is I'm clicking button prompts. It's not real time combat and stuff. I'm clicking a button, then my character goes on and does stuff. But what abilities of mine are going to combine together well, and what's going to be good for the rest of the group, what role I'm supposed to play if I'm going in with 4 different people into this dungeon. Am I going to play a protective class where I'm over healing people, or am I in there like front line, bearing the brunt of everything that's going on, but staying close enough to these people who can heal me, and just distracting people long enough so that the big heavy hitters can come in and do their damage? There's not a lot like that.
Yeah.
I think the MMO genre just needs a reform across the board.
Yeah,
we want reform.
It's stuck in its ways type of thing.
And I think it's going to die out if it doesn't. We've especially reached that market hasn't been growing for a long time.
They had a false
COVID
spike
was their
in
last
COVID.
chance to grow. Exactly. They had their last chance for growth there. That market is now matured in a way where there's no the market's not going to continue to grow, because you have all the other live service games out there eating their lunch. You're not going to be able to compete with these games that already have the same retention, that have that same social aspect. It's just the genre is going to die. You're at this point, the best you can do is recycle the old players, or try to get that 4% of gamers who are like us, who actually play, who want to try different games just to try them out. But that's not the majority of gamers out there. They're going to be on a downward trend until they change something about it. But
think VR
it may
might
be too little,
the
too
thing to
late.
save it, man. If they could get that down to where you could like be in there, think of the meme potential, man.
I'm sorry, I thought you were joking for a second.
Imagine being a
Roblox
Lalafell.
is what you're thinking of, Matthew. You're thinking about Roblox.
No, imagine being a Lalafell, man. You're all the way down here and you can look up at everyone, man. I'm half joking.
I think they actually have tested that with 14.
That'd be cool.
I swear I remember an
they have a
where they
first
said
person
that they tried
mode
it out to see if it would work. Yeah, I definitely agree with Nolan. I think
they're selling you an idea.
There's some big
or a feeling,
like fall off coming for these MMOs. I mean, we even saw it with like the newest expansion. Like, it wasn't super great, and you had a lot of people dropping off with it with 14. It's that easy to lose people.
Yeah, especially when they're paying month. And that's the thing. These things are really expensive to run, because you have to have servers that are always on, and you can only have a certain amount of people on a server, and so you have to have 20 different servers. One last thing I want to note, and then we'll pass it on to you, Bo. The typical MMO, Final Fantasy 14 is very different. They let you have every single slice of the cake, right? You hop in, you can try a class. If you don't like it, you can just pick up a different class. And as you get a class higher, all the other ones level up much quicker to match that one. every other game, you get one character, one class. You might be able to switch to a subclass or something like that, but otherwise you have to make a new character and do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, that's one really good thing about 14 is you can just whatever you want.
All right.
Would we say that Destiny 2 is the worst MMORPG?
Yeah, because you buy expansions, you can't play them.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I refuse to put it on this list.
I really dislike that game. Yeah.
Right.
All right, Bo, you are on the clock. What is your game genre?
All right. Well, I have a couple honorable mentions, so I'll just say those now before I get into what my actual one is. I almost chose fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
Besides Smash Brothers, just because I mean, there's so many button combinations. Those ones I couldn't actually say they're bad because like when you actually watch somebody playing it and like know how intricate it is, it's like, okay, this is actually a good game. I'm just bad at
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's just not my thing. And then
Sure.
point and click adventures is the other one. And it's just from a different time period. I was really close to putting those on as mine. But yeah, it's the gameplay is usually really simple.
I agree
Really,
with the point.
really rough.
There was a time where I was trying to get through like free to play horror games and stuff, and so many of them were like the point and click stuff. It was not fun.
Yeah, yeah. The one I actually went with is realistic racing simulators.
Okay.
Woo!
And I'm kind of including games like Need for Speed and the ones where like there's a lot of focus placed on the car feeling realistic.
Okay.
Like, and that's kind of like my biggest problem with it in some regards is
Sure.
like, it's that like, okay, you pushed it so far into being realistic. Is this fun? To me, it's not fun.
That's the hard part about them.
Like, yeah, there's even some like open world games like GTA where like you're driving around in the city and like GTA is at least fun because like you're running into stuff and like then you hop out of the car and then you go on a rampage or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a whole game of just like realistic racing and like that's all you do. It's just I feel like I'm more into games like Mario Kart. I know that sounds like super lame.
You like fun games,
I like karting games because there's like items you can like hit people with, and it's not just racing. It usually feels a lot better because that's what really makes it just rough for me because it's like the drifting and like turns on realistic racing ones just don't feel good. It feels like they're like purposely taking the control away from you. Yeah, I hate it. Yep. Yeah, and it's usually, I mean, some of them even get so extreme into like my brother likes playing this like F1. That's probably the like most extreme example. But yeah, there's just like so much. It's almost to the point of it where it's like this is just like some sim that like an F1 driver would practice with, not a video game. Like this isn't fun. Like there's just like all these knobs you have to like keep track of and like all of these settings, and it's like, okay, this is lame. Like this isn't a game. This is just work. Or I don't know. Work is maybe not the right word for it, but you get what I
I'm
mean.
struggling here. I played. They gave an F1 game away for free on Steam. I think it was like F1 like 20 or 21. I booted in.
Oh,
that's the same one they gave on PlayStation.
I couldn't go. I held A. I didn't go forward. I held RT. I couldn't go forward. I moved the stick. I couldn't go forward. I was like, I'm not playing this. It's stupid.
There is a
Did
lot
you
of
try all
you
three at the same time?
No. I tried. You know what I did? I did it. I uninstalled it.
So I have played a decent amount of F1 24 because my brother is really into it. And you literally do have to press like multiple buttons in the car before you can actually, and you have to like physically look at the button, press the button.
Oh my
and
goodness.
go.
That's not fair to
It's
people who
dumb.
have the whole rigs for him because they got all this extra stuff. That's easy.
Yeah, he has a rig. He has a rig.
Anybody can
He's
play with a
really
rig.
into it.
Real ones play on a controller. That's the real skill.
He does that too. He's really good
You
at
ever
it.
have to hold
I
down
will
3
say,
buttons at the same time?
yeah, the people who are
If
really
you-
good at it are really good at it.
If you can't play a
Um,
game on a Guitar Hero controller, is it even a real game?
No.
Um,
I'm sorry, I haven't seen
Yeah.
anybody speed run, Gran Turismo using a Guitar Hero controller.
You haven't seen my buddy Jeff.
I haven't seen your buddy Jeff. You're
I have not seen
correct.
your buddy Jeff.
Locked away.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other stuff. I mean, there's so much you could talk about. Like,
Mhm.
they make the tracks like they feel different when they're wet, and then there's like a bunch of stuff like where like it'll gradually stop raining as it's going, and then it'll feel different, and you have to get used to the. It kind of feels like to me sometimes those games where like they mess with your control stick. It's a lot like that. It's a similar feeling
Yeah.
where it's like, dude, stop messing with my control stick. Just let me play the game.
Mhm.
Like, I hate that
I
as easily.
always wished because
I don't know.
go
ahead.
for games
Go ahead.
like that, like the like immersive sims or whatever. I get that they have a target audience, like the guys who are really into that. They want to do that.
Mhm.
But if those were the only guys who played that game, you would not be able to. You wouldn't be a studio anymore. So I've always
Well,
be a proponent of just having the option to
They
turn
somehow
on.
get people.
I just want the option to turn on the like authentic settings or whatever, and then just play like that. Why
Yeah,
can't
so-
there be an easy mode for dum dums?
the trouble with that is you wouldn't be able to play online, and a lot of these, even your
Yeah,
you
a lot
even
of them
just
are a lot
your
of online.
like campaign stuff still have leaderboards and stuff like that. It would really screw up things. Even though you still have some difficulty settings. I don't know if it's time for us to rebut or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually what I was about to ask. Yes, how
Okay,
you guys
cool.
feel about 'em.
Actually, you know what?
So,
They will
yeah.
sell a lot because I got friends who will buy those type of stuff and then play it once and then never play it again.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like sports games where you'll get people coming back every year.
Yep.
Even
yeah.
if, and they'll play for like 2 or 3 hours, and then they'll
They'll say this game sucks. I'm never buying it again, and then next year.
then they'll buy it next year. Yeah, it's exactly
like,
like
snap.
that.
Here we go again. No, yeah, if I can offer a rebuttal in a sense, because I'm in a similar boat with you where this is not my type of game.
Mhm.
But I will say that all those things you're calling out are absolutely like the point of it for those people.
That's true. Yeah,
But
and I will fully
also
admit this is
the-
probably more of a me problem.
Sure.
For sure.
But I think there's some room for growth in the genre as well. But
Mhm.
what I like about these games is if I want to know what the tech for the rest of the industry is going to look like in 5 years, I look at the racing sim. Or sorry, not racing
That is
sim.
true.
Well, yeah, racing
Like
sim. Yeah.
graphically, and it's probably because they're usually copy pasting a lot of the gameplay. A lot of these look really good graphically.
They look really good, but even outside of that, things like your weather tech and stuff like that, your reactive environments and things like that. Sound design is on another level when you get into these sim games. There's
true.
nothing like it. The rest of every other video game genre you can think of is just trying to catch up. But I mean, because you really are just focusing one thing, so you can come in and you can go to Ferrari, you can go to BMW, you can go to whoever, and you can get perfect recordings of everything. You can be like, we're going to take this car and we're going to drive it in 10 different areas, and we're going to make sure that we know what it sounds like in all these different kinds of environments and things like that. And we're going to have tens of thousands of hours of recordings that we are putting into this game so that everything reacts correctly, and we're going to spend all the time making sure that when you enter this kind of a tunnel, or you get this close to the sidewall, that the sound is changed in this way. And it's so it's incredible how reactive these games are. The rest of the industry doesn't do things that way, at least not to that level of intensity.
Yeah.
And when they do, they'll pick like their one or two things and they'll go for it. Like I mean, we start talking about these, I'm always like, my brain goes back to what people laud Metal Gear Solid franchise for, in terms of their reactive environments and things like that, and make the feel really there. So all of that is cool, but at that same time, is this even a game anymore? Or is this a simulator? Like, I feel like they're
all the game is giving me. It's like that's not enough.
And where I think that things need to change a little bit is that I think the arcade racers are getting too sim heavy.
Yeah.
Because you have these hardcore racers, and they have their hardcore games. They have their Gran Turismo. They have their Forza. But then you have your games like Forza Horizon, or you have even like your Need for Speeds, and even like the last. I remember playing Burnout Paradise, and I remember thinking like that was too much to deal with. I want some simpler arcade racers, and they're not simple arcade racers anymore. They're all sims. They all have. I can't just do regular drafting, be behind the person. It's like, no, you have to follow this line exactly, or you're going to screw everything up. I cannot stand the racing games anymore unless they're kart racers, because everybody has to have some kind of sim nature in their game. And that's why I'm so done with the genre. I just want, can we let our arcade racers be arcade racers and let our sims be sims?
Yeah, it shouldn't feel like I need to have a racing wheel to play the game.
Exactly, because everybody's like, "Oh, you just gotta buy this."
A lot of these people say that, like, when you ask them about it, they're like, "Oh, it feels a lot better when you're using a racing wheel." It's like, dude, I don't have a racing wheel.
Nobody's buying a racing
wheel.
I'm
not buying a racing wheel to play these games.
I do want to retract my.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to retract my statement on them just doing an easy mode, because I'd be just like the devs wanting them for an easy mode on Souls games. So I will retract my statement.
Yeah, I don't think it should be an easy mode. I think it should just
how about just I press A and the car goes? At least let me move, even if it's slow, man. I sat there, I was playing, I couldn't start the car, man, and I turned the TV off. I was mad. I just had to look at my reflection in the TV. Like, man, what kind of man are you? Can't even start the car. All right, Bo, do you have any final words? Any last words?
Any last words
before we release the car sim community on you?
Are you feeling lucky?
The car sim community.
The car sim community. All three of them. No.
Oh, I thought you said Carson, Carson, and I was like, not that guy, not that community, but no, car sim with an M. I getcha. Yeah.
I mean, I think at this point, I've basically, Mario Kart just does it better.
Tell them.
I'm more fun to have items
tell them the
that
truth.
You can
we want
throw
fun
at people.
We want fun.
And the drifting feels a lot better in Mario Kart.
Yes. Tell them about the bananas.
Well, it's just it's so great because you're like, cool, I want to drift. And then you go and do that, and it immediately clicks. It feels the way it's supposed to. You're not getting surprised by things.
My car doesn't go like, woof. It just
exactly, because in real life, if we tried to drift, that's what would happen.
That's true.
It would be like the sim games. So that's what they're going for, is simulation. And I've always felt like simulations toe the line of what is a video game in the same way that I feel like graphic novels do. But anyways,
it's similar reason I didn't love Red Dead Redemption 2. It's too much sim, not enough game. Like
exactly, for something that doesn't advertise itself as a sim. Like, they put themselves forward as a game with way too many sim elements, too much survival. They
don't need to do that.
That game is a different game than Red Dead Redemption. I mean, it's a different genre than Red Dead Redemption when it comes to Red Dead 2. Anyways, sorry. All right. We could go on a totally different tangent there.
Oh yeah.
Moral of the story:
make a whole episode where we just wreck on that.
Man, Cars is so good. Cars, but the 2004, 2000. No. It was 2006. Yeah, for the GameCube. So good.
Okay, I ever played that one.
It's pretty good.
So good.
You should play it.
Yeah. McKenna's even giving me the thumbs up. Apparently, she's played Cars on the GameCube. It's a good game.
Way.
All right, we've been talking a lot about some good games. Tell us about a bad game.
What's a bad genre?
Yeah, the
All right.
The worst genre
So,
of all time.
This is tricky because there's a few ways I go with
tricky,
this.
yeah.
Because I can go, well, what is objectively the worst, right? If I just look at cool, here's the critical and user reviews for all games of that genre, and where are they averaging out with? It's by far and away action games. It's just because there's so many things that fall into the action category, and there's so many that are easy to make that everybody's making an action game. So that causes lower scores to happen because they have, by a long shot, the most bad games. Or do I go the route of what is my least favorite genre in card games or deck builders, especially? It just doesn't work for me. But what I think I've settled on, I think I'm gonna have to go with I think I'm gonna have to go with roguelites. Roguelites.
All right.
So to give the kind of the difference,
Guy
I mean
hates Elden
roguelikes
Ring.
and roguelites, they all just refer to games that draw inspiration from the game Rogue, from that 80s PC game. And Rogue was kind of the first game to do things this way, but it set a certain standard that people kind of drew from for a long time. But basically, there's certain functions that you're expecting from it. A game that is like Rogue is going to have procedural generation, meaning like your levels, dungeons, worlds, they are randomly generated, causing each playthrough to be different. There's permadeath, meaning that when the player dies, you lose all your progress. You start from the beginning. Original Rogue was turn-based. A lot of newer ones are action, but I'll come back around to that. They tend to be grid-based movement. There's some resource management, and of course, they are very difficult and complex games. A roguelite is something that's going to have just some of those, or they'll have variations of that. So, for example, you'll still have the procedural generation be pretty similar, but your permadeath is going to have progression. Take Hades, for example. When you're in there, everything that you collect, your boons and stuff, are all for that run. But when you come out, you're getting some kind of currency that you get to spend on permanent upgrades and things like that. You would experience the same thing in God of War. I think Valhalla was the name of the roguelite mode.
Yeah.
And all the different things
Real
like
talk,
that.
That's probably one of the best ones I've played, though.
Right? Yeah.
I actually really like that one.
But roguelites just tend to be a little bit more accessible, and their systems tend to be a little bit more simple. I mean, you're talking about games like Hades, you're talking about The Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, things like that. There's a very wide spread of what roguelites can be, and I've enjoyed a lot of parts of some of this. But let me talk about where this frustrates me and why I call this a rough genre. One is
it can be really rough.
So the Rogue, I think Rogue is actually just a bad game. I'll be honest.
I've never actually played
impactful. And I've played so little of it. I mean, it was that game predates me by 15 years. I mean, it makes sense. This is a very early PC game. I say that, but someone who was playing PC games in the 60s is going to be like, no, hold on, as if they had a PC. PC, computer games, text games, whatever. Anyways, but procedural generation, we can start there. Procedural generation allows people to get out of. It's very easy to mess up. It's hard to get right because, well, what procedural generation has become for a lot of people, and why a lot of these companies are, if you need to add in a new mode now, you're going with roguelite. So take the examples of like these Sony games, right? You have God of War, Ragnarok. How can we get people to come back in, give them another mode? Well, let's just give them a roguelite. Same thing with Last of Us. I don't even think it was 2. I think it was the Part 1 remake came with a roguelite mode. And
no, it was
and
2.
it was 2. Okay, cool. Maybe it was Part 2 remake. or remaster, because I know there's a remaster of part 2. Anyways,
Not sure.
so either way, there's a Last of Us roguelite as well, and there's a lot of games that did it. And the benefit of that is we've already wrapped up on this game. How do we reuse these assets? And because it's so simple to make a little room, and that's kind of what you're doing. Is you're cool. I'm just gonna make this little room or arena, and and you say these elements can change. These are the different types of arenas that you can get. Here's your little corridor to go through. You can add in some cosmetic stuff. You can make these look really nice. You can put some manner of care into it. But the point is, they're doing this to reuse assets, have a very small group of people working on this, and get it done quickly. You can and as much as I don't want to throw the L word around, it's very lazy. It's the easy way to do it, where you're getting additional bang for your buck, but it's so cheap. And they are adding some interesting stuff in some of these, but it's the procedural generation to me will never replace actual handcrafted worlds, because I've yet to find a game that is procedurally generated that doesn't feel procedurally generated. We've been talking about Elden Ring Night Rain, where you drop into the world and the world, you are getting the same things, just in different orders, and they get mixed around a little bit. And they do some things to make that better than some other games do it, but it still feels the same wherever you're going. So procedural generation is a big one to me. Also, I'm just not a fan of permadeath. For a lot of people, roguelites are kind of the new arcade game. And where I respect that, I also feel like there's no need for that. Why can't we just make arcadey games that aren't these, let these arcadey games be simple. We don't need to flesh them out into something crazy. But I'm not a fan of permadeath. I'm not a fan of losing progress, period.
That can feel really bad.
And it becomes a very difficult tightrope to walk, because you're needing to balance. We don't want them to get things together too quick, but also, is there really progression in between, or is it just feigning progression? Is it like, oh, here's your little like 0.5% attack power. If you get all of them, your attack power is actually only going to ever go up maybe 15% total. And you get all these different add-ons and stuff, and eventually you're going to find, wait a minute, I'm not actually getting things to make this easier. I'm actually just doing this enough times that I get better. And these systems that are in here to make things easier for me or to be some kind of progression are actually just bogus. And this isn't true for every game, but it's true for a lot of games. Especially because the roguelite genre is so massive right now. Anyone who wants to come into making games but is looking for like an easy way to do it, a lot of people are jumping onto the roguelite train. And there are some people who are doing cool things with it, as there is in every genre, but I look at the roguelite genre and I'm asking, how are you pushing video games forward? Are you doing anything interesting with your tech in terms of procedural generation? No. Are you doing anything interesting with your progression that is going to push things forward for video games as a whole? No. Combat systems, sometimes they do some really cool stuff with their combat systems, but again, they don't need to be a roguelite to be able to do that. I think a lot of these roguelites games could just slip into being more of an arcade kind of game, arcade action, beat 'em ups, things like that. I think we could leave the genre as a whole, but I want to hear what you guys think about that.
So I have
Matthew goes, since he was patiently raising his hand.
So I have more experience. I have two that I've played a good amount of. One is Risk of Rain 2, and one is Endless Dungeon. So they both kind of do things good, and this is part of why I think maybe you're right. Is because of the things they do not so good. So the better of the two, Risk of Rain it's procedurally generated. The game's pretty much you're in an area, you do your thing that you need to do. You get out to go to the next area, and then you go to like the final boss, and you beat that, and then your game's done. And it's actually not super hard, which is nice, but it's that same kind of thing. But the maps generating, it was so frustrating because it's hard to find objectives sometimes, because there'll be like this big cavern or something, and then there'll be a little whoop off the way, and then that you used to get down to here to get to here, and then because it's a 3D world, and it's you get lost a lot, and a game that requires the longer the game goes, the harder it gets, and if you're sometimes we're spending 2 or 3 minutes trying to find the objective in a game where we have to be quick. And the second one, Dungeon of the Endless, it looks really nice and it's fun, but the gameplay is you start in a dungeon, like a sci-fi thing, and you go room to room to room, and you have like a resource to unlock the next room. But like, even though you're building to getting out of wherever you are, it doesn't really feel like you're actually doing it. You just get to the end, and it just kind of feels like you're, I lost to the boss. Let me try again. And then you get past that boss or whatever. And it's like, okay, now I just do the same thing again and again, and it just does not.
That is my biggest problem with it too. Yeah,
where I've been this boss before, and I just messed up this one time through. Now I got to redo that again. Even
at least something like Risk of Rain is only like 20 minutes, maybe 30.
That's
good, depending on.
That's perfect. And that's where this could be better, because when you're why I like Arcady is the point is it's going to eat up your quarters, but you're not like, I mean, your arcade games. Most of these arcade games, you're gonna, if you beat them, you're doing it in like 20 minutes, right? I think of your Dragon's Lair and stuff like that. In particular, what comes to mind, 'cause I was like, what's a game of these I've actually beaten? But these roguelites, they go far too long for something that you're going to have to restart. So I mean, there's some of these
no satisfaction in having to restart because you died.
Exactly. But also, can we just make it shorter? Like some of these are easier to get further into, but you just have to go so long. And one of those would be Hades, where I actually really love Hades. I think Hades is a great game. I think that generally these roguelites should try to be a little bit harder, but have a shorter loop. Like, yes, make me try to get 10 to 15 minutes of really difficult stuff. And then when it's done, let me be done with that. Yeah. Don't make me do that whole section again. If I get to the end, let me have that. And then let me move on to the next one.
Point perfectly with Enter the Gungeon. Holy crap. That game wastes your time so much. Yeah. It's awful because you have to like do multiple runs over and over again and again, like you're fighting the same boss again, and you don't like, the only thing that you get to upgrade is you can have more guns in the pool of rotation.
Yeah,
that like random, and in some regards that makes it harder because like you are taking out the guns that you like in rotation. It's like, dude, like I like some roguelites. I think there's some good ones. Like Valhalla is one of my favorites. I'd say Dead Cells is really good. Mm-hmm. And those ones, it's because they let you have some of that progression. They don't typically waste your time. Dead Cells maybe a little bit, because sometimes you have to get through a level to get to the next one, but there's like shortcuts built in. Yeah, Valhalla was,
which is a neat way around that.
There's one thing I like.
Valhalla was probably one of my favorites just because, there was like a story that you could find as you're going through that made it feel more fresh. Combat is great still from the base game, which helps. And you're getting those abilities, and spoiler if you haven't played it, when you get to tier, you get to fight him like multiple times, and he gets like, each time you get to tier, like he'll stop you and be like, that's enough. and then you come back to him the next time and he adds like another phase, which is really cool. Like that's a great way to do the repeating boss.
Yep. Also, I like that Matthew took his earphones out as if he's ever going to play that.
I could someday.
I don't think you will.
Maybe.
You'll do the roguelike mode for.
You got to play God of War Ragnarok first.
The thing I noticed, there's one thing that I do like. It's a combination of two things that you don't like. It was card deck builders and roguelikes. I didn't like the game as much, but Slay the Spire, I liked it. I believe you could save. I believe you could just like stop in the
saving helps
at a certain point. Yeah. I may be wrong, but I have a good memory being able to just like turn it off and come back.
So you can, and some of these have save features where you can save during the middle of a run. However, they have things in there to prevent save scumming. So if you're close to death, they'll save your later progression stuff. So like you can't come back to a save, like once you progressed forward. So it'll erase that save as you keep going. I don't know if that's exactly how Slay the Spires works, but my understanding is that it's a similar thing. It's there in case you're stepping away from it. Yeah, no, because it's they had the same thing with Returnal. Because Returnal added a save feature, but there's a way to get around cloud saving where it'll recognize the cloud save and it will register as this person's trying to get around this, and they'll cancel it out and they'll reboot you.
Let me play the game.
And Slay the Spire does a similar thing. I to my understanding, I haven't played enough of it. But I've noticed that a lot of these deck builders are also roguelites, right? Balatro, Inscription.
Yeah, basically roguelites in some regard.
Yeah. So deck builder roguelites would be my least favorite genre. And you know what? Even despite that, Balatro is a fantastic game. I just will not be playing it anymore because, again, this genre combination is just terrible for me.
All right.
But anyways, that's all I had.
Roguelike deck building roguelikes are big games. Big games take a long time to download that. Let's get
if anybody ever makes a racing MMO roguelite with card building in it, you're screwed.
Well, you're not going to like our mini game this week because it is video game Jeopardy. All right. Woo, yeah.
Okay.
Woo.
All right.
I am going to hold up a number behind my head. The closest person without going over will get to be the first picker.
All right. Okay. I'm ready.
3.
Oh, actually, you go first.
Oh, okay. 3.
Okay. It's not a number. It's a pack of hot dogs.
Bo was closest. 10. All right, Bo, your categories today.
I thought I had him.
We have Junk Drawer, which is just some miscellaneous random video game questions. We have Name the Game, where you'll be given a little thing. You'll have to name which game it is. We have Who's That Character, the game where you have to guess who's that character, and Finish Line. We will give you a video game quote, and you'll have to finish it. All right, so we'll just do or beep.
Oh yeah,
just do beep.
Yeah,
beep if you got it. All right.
Who's that character for 300?
Who's that character for 300? He says. All right. First introduced as a rookie cop in 1998, this character has since survived multiple zombie outbreaks, battled bioterrorists, and become a... Whoa.
Leon S. Kennedy.
Let's see here. I did not put the S or the Kennedy, but that is who it is. Just so you know,
that's what I was
literally just
back because
him, so that's why I was like, I got this
right. I was like, is he gonna need the full name? Because I was like, Leon who?
Yep. Oh yeah. So I just gave it the best shot. This is just the dry run anyway. All right, Bo's got 300, and you know what else that means?
Means I got to pick the next one, right?
It means he gets to pick the next one. And he's got 300 points, off to a good start.
We'll do Name the Game for 400.
Name the game for 400. I forgot these questions. In this RPG, players use a special wrist-worn device to befriend mischievous spirits, summon them in battle, and solve supernatural problems.
Oh, beep.
All right, Bo.
Yokai Watch.
Is it Yokai Watch? It is Yokai Watch.
I thought it was Ben 10.
Nice.
Woohoo. If somebody gets it wrong, what happens?
Kind of like Ben 10.
Is it just the category's gone if you get it wrong, and then the next person gets to go?
I think so. If somebody
Oh.
gets it wrong, it goes to the next person. They can guess, and then if they don't get it,
Oh,
then
but
it's just over.
Okay.
Oh, but then we would see the answers on there.
I have to click to do the answer.
Oh, so you already know the answer.
Yeah, I wrote these.
Okay, cool.
All right, Bo, you got a
All right.
700-point lead.
All right. We'll do who's that character for 400.
Who's that character for 400? This AI, originally created to help run Aperture Science, became infamous for her passive-aggressive taunts and deadly tests.
Oh, why am I
What's her
not
name?
remembering what her name is?
This AI originally created to run.
I know. I've tried. I didn't know she had a name. I'll be honest.
She does, yeah.
Buzz.
All right, what you got?
Yeah.
Mrs. Portal.
Mrs. Portal, is it right? Nope. All right, Bo, you have.
I really thought I had it.
This probably isn't quite right, but it's like Gladys or something like that.
Oh, is it
Gladius.
Gladys.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I can't
You're
believe
right.
All right.
Dang. Yeah, that is tough. That was tough.
That was good.
Where do you want to go, Bo? Where do you want to go? So many options. to
I'll
pick here.
do name the game for 300, I
Name
guess.
the game for 300. This 2001 fighting game features unlikely heroes battling out on.
Yes.
Nolan.
Super Smash Bros.
Oh.
Melee.
Ah, man.
Super Smash Bros. Melee. You have 300
Don't
points.
let-
You threw me off. I don't know why.
Don't let the fighting game fans find out that you called Smash Bros. Melee a fighting game.
Well, what do? You fight? Yeah, it's a fighting game. Congrats. Now, as I was saying, you have 300 points and control of the board.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what we've got going on here. Let's do finish line for 500.
Finish line for 500
wow.
is where we have to
All right.
finish the video game quote. I'm Commander Shepard and
I'm
Buzz.
yeah. Bo.
I'm
I buzz
Commander
first?
Shepard.
Who
I'm
buzzed?
Commander Shepard, and this is my
Okay.
favorite store in the Citadel.
What is this? My favorite store on the Citadel. And it was Bo first on. I'm watching your mouse and listening,
Okay.
so I'm
Cool,
trying to do
cool.
my
Okay,
best
good.
because we don't have a buzzer system. All right, Bo. Unfortunately, you have control of the board yet again. I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately. Who's that character? 500.
Who's that character for 500? Who's that character? As the matron of the Carline Canopy, this kind-hearted Alezen serves as the guide for many adventurers arriving in New Gridania.
Oh, what's her name?
Buzz.
All right, Big Noel.
Oh no, what's her name?
Is it? Is it Strawberry Shortcake?
Nope.
I'm probably even thinking of the wrong NPC, anyways.
You are thinking of the wrong NPC.
Yeah.
I'll try.
About 5 seconds.
It's Queen of the. She's like has the horns. Frick.
All right.
Oh, I don't know this
I
girl's name
will-
either.
It
Hey,
is.
I forget her name.
Who is
I always-
Never would have
I-
gotten that. Never.
I
would have
always
come to that.
disliked her too.
Sorry.
Dang.
I was thinking because some of the other 500s were easy, so I gotta make a hard one.
You
That's
did make a
fair.
hard one. That was good.
All right, you have
Okay.
lost control of the
All right.
board. It is now time for Big Noel.
All right. Name the game for 500.
Name the game for 500. In this action RPG spinoff, players control a young net battler and his digital companion as they battle viruses to solve
Buzz?
cybercrimes. Nolan.
Mega Man Battle Network.
Is it Mega Man Battle Network? It is
Oh.
Mega Man Battle Network.
I never
All
played.
right.
And
Right.
All right, Nolan, you have 500 points and control of the board.
All
Yeah.
right. I want to. Here's the. If we go through all the big points now, and Bo gets them all, then these smaller ones don't mean jack. So I'm going to start at these smaller numbers here, and I'm going to say Junk Drawer for 100.
Drunk Store for 100. These are miscellaneous video game questions. Try blank. Nolan.
Try finger butthole.
oh,
No,
Oh.
that's not it, is it? Oh no! Let me try Buzz.
3, 2, 1.
Do I get another
Wait.
attempt?
Get another attempt. Or wait, Bo, you got to answer?
wait. So was that his attempt? I'm
Yeah.
confused.
You're on the clock now, Bo. No.
So what? So wait, what is Junk Drawer again? I
This
don't
is
get
just
what this category
It's
is.
just
questions
miscellaneous.
of the other categories.
Yeah. So yeah, Buzz. Buzz.
All right.
Buzz.
Wait, I don't know. I guess
Nolan.
I don't know.
What is rump?
Sorry. That's the other one like that.
So junk drawer it can be any of the
I
other
didn't get it.
categories. So this is
Yeah.
a finish the line.
Sorry.
Okay.
I
Okay.
apologize.
That's okay. No big deal.
Phone for content.
Finger but hole sounds so weird in this context.
All right, Nolan, you
Yeah.
are 900 points, and you have control of the board.
Let's go name the game for 100.
Name the game for 100. This classic simulation game lets players design and manage their own amusement park.
Buzz.
Oh,
Nolan.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
dang.
It's Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Like just barely faster.
Let's do who's that character for 100.
Who's that character for 100? The silent protagonist in green is often mistaken for the
Beep,
princess.
beep, beep.
I believe that was Bo.
Luigi.
Ah!
Nolan.
Ah! Link.
Oh, I'm dumb. Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Look out,
I don't know
Hyrule.
why
There's a
someone-
new king in town.
I said Luigi. Wow, I'm
Yeah.
crazy.
He went, hey Mario, hey, what's up, Peach?
You know what I was thinking of? So there's a scene in the Mario and Luigi series where Luigi wears a dress. And for some reason that's like what my mind, oh my gosh, I'm dumb.
Oh man.
Yeah,
And
but
people are
but
like
Link,
Princess Peach.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
Luigi isn't a silent protagonist. He goes, "Oh, Coco Matato." You know,
Mario.
at least that's what he. Mario. Mario.
All right, Nolan.
I can't believe
you
I
have
did
control of the
that.
board.
Finish line for 100.
Finish line for 100. It's a me,
I'll be-
Bo.
It's a me, Mario.
Is there lag on my end? I feel like I was there so fast.
That was really close. It felt like we
I'm
almost
trying
did
my
it at the
best
same
here.
time.
There's not like a system for you guys to play, so I'm gonna have to try to like.
Let me text you the answer.
All right,
Kidding.
all right, Bo. You have
That'd be even slower. Finish line 400.
finish line for 400.
Mhm.
I need a.
Oh,
Buzz.
Nolan.
Drink?
Nope.
What is drink?
No.
oh man, this is tough.
This should have been the 5. I think I put him in.
Yeah, this one maybe should have been the 5. I need a gun. I don't know.
All right, it was. I need a weapon.
Ah,
The classic Master Chief quote. Apparently, it was the voice actor's favorite line to record. All right, Nolan, you're back in control of the board, but with points fading, what can you do here?
Let's do junk drawer for 200.
Junk drawer for 200. This video game released on 9 different platforms.
beep, beep, beep.
Bo.
A lot of them.
I
I got bad next.
I'm counting. Skyrim, I think actually, but I might be
It
wrong.
was Skyrim.
Okay. I was like, oh boy, am I right or am I
It
like
was Xbox,
doing it wrong?
Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 3, 4, 5, PC, Switch, and the
Fridge.
version. And the fridge. Yeah, they're kind of.
Yeah,
All right, Bo.
gotcha. How many games? How many platforms was Tetris released on?
All of
Base
them.
level Tetris. So probably more than 9 then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
That was the other thing I was trying to figure out, is if it was Tetris he was
Yeah,
talking about.
I was thinking of platforms like I was thinking of platforms as different from consoles.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
I would consider Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X all the same platform,
Sorry.
but just different consoles. That's all right.
That's okay.
That's a me thing.
All right, Bo.
Finish line 300.
Finish line 300.
I'm in all these big
War.
numbers.
War never.
100. Oh, why? Buzz.
All
Do
right.
this one anyway.
Oh, I thought he already
Oh.
buzzed.
Yes, Bo.
Yeah, I said 300, but he chose 200. That's
Oh.
okay. War never changes.
Sorry, Bo. My bad. I must have been the last. No. Oh, whoops. All right. Do you want to go for 300 then?
Wait, did he get the
I
points
mean,
for that?
Did
Yeah.
I get that one?
Yeah, you got
Okay.
it.
Cool.
Let's do 300 as well. Why not?
All right. Dua.
That
That was Nolan this time.
Barrel
Yes.
roll. Do a barrel roll.
Thought I got it fast enough.
Barrel roll. That was really close. All right, Nolan. You're up. This is a tough job having to watch the. I'm having to read
Name
the
that game for 200.
Name that game for 200. This 2010 first-person shooter introduced players to the mind-bending numbers station mystery, along with zombie invasion of the Pentagon.
Buzz?
Nolan.
Wait, sorry. Call of Duty Black Ops.
Shoot. Dang
Black
it.
Ops.
I was hoping you wouldn't get it. Oh, man.
I use AI to write some of these just because I wanted to make them sound more professional. So if they sound like something I wouldn't say. That's why.
No, you
who's
don't
that
admit
character
that.
for 200?
Who's that character for 200? Wielding a keyblade. This
Buzz.
spiky
Buzz.
Nolan.
Sora.
Dude, I feel like that was me that buzzed first.
I feel like
Dang it.
that was me too.
I'm trying.
But
I'm sorry. I'm failing.
It's okay. No. It's fine.
Matthew,
Or am I
I think you
rigging
were
it to
correct
get
this
viewers,
time.
huh? All right,
No,
Nolan.
I think you're correct this time. Of course you would.
All right, Nolan, you're up.
All right, junk drawer for 300.
Junk drawer for 300. This company known for iconic RPGs.
Buzz.
Nolan.
Ah, man.
What is Squaresoft?
What is Squaresoft? You got it. Nice.
I almost said Enix, and I was like,
trying
nope,
to
I'm
trick
not
you
going to give
guys.
credit to that. Yep, because Square. Yep, different. All right,
All right, it is
junk
now a
drawer
300
for 400.
400 junk drawer. This former video game retail chain now. Bo.
GameStop.
Buzz.
Nolan.
EB Games.
No.
Oh, what is it?
Did we both get it wrong?
Game crazy.
Oh, no.
I tried trading so many games I didn't have the manual and they would not take them. Apparently
Yeah.
it was a chain. I didn't know that.
Yep. Now they're locally owned. There's multiple of them, but they're all locally owned.
Now
Well, I guess
we're at the final
that
question.
leaves one of them.
So
whoever gets this wins.
Yep. Junk drawer
Yep.
for 500. This console was the first to feature a built-in modem, pioneering online play in the home gaming market.
Buzz.
Nolan.
Buzz.
Xbox. No, I did it wrong. I know where I went wrong.
Dreamcast.
It was the Dreamcast.
So, yeah. Yep.
Bo is our winner, 2,800 to 2,000.
Nice.
You got. Yep.
Woo!
Heck yeah.
Nice. Good work. I feel bad. I tried my best to do impartial.
Oh, no, you're good. No,
But this
no,
was. I think you actually did a solid job. I think you did a
You
solid
did good.
job.
You
here.
did good.
I'm having to read and I'm looking. I'm like, who's got what?
Nah,
there,
you were fine.
That was
I
a
just
good
was getting
game.
into it.
Good game.
Oh,
Good
was that good?
questions. Good questions. These were good.
Yeah, I tried
it
to
was
get a
good.
good mix. I was going to do a whole section of Dark Souls or Souls-like questions, and I realized I didn't pay enough, and I don't want to get spoiled. So,
That's a good point. Yep.
all right, this has been the Uncle Cyborg Show, where we're talking about the worst video game genres of all time. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have a good week. This is Super Nolan Man. I'm Dad Boy Few. That's the Hyrule King, and we'll catch you guys next week.